November 8, 2025. The Supreme Federal Court has upheld the conviction of former President Jair Bolsonaro, rejecting his final appeals. Minister Alexandre de Moraes' vote cements a 27-year prison sentence for leading a criminal organization that sought to orchestrate a coup and subvert Brazil's democracy. This historic decision marks a turning point for Brazil, signaling that even the highest office is not above the law. This judgment marks the dramatic culmination of a far-reaching investigation into the attempts to undermine Brazil's democratic process following the 2022 presidential election. For months, authorities have been piecing together evidence, tracing the origins of coordinated efforts to cast doubt on the legitimacy of the vote and to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power, a cornerstone of any democracy. The Supreme Federal Court, known as the STF, has been at the center of this storm, tasked with upholding the rule of law in the face of unprecedented political turmoil. The 2022 election was one of the most contentious in Brazil's recent history, with millions of citizens casting their votes amid a climate of uncertainty and fear. As the results were announced, tensions soared, and the nation watched anxiously as the transition of power unfolded under heavy security. Behind the scenes, investigators uncovered a web of plots designed to block the transfer of power, threatening the very fabric of Brazil's democracy. At the heart of the investigation were former President Jair Bolsonaro and his close allies, including Anderson Torres and Augusto Heleno. Prosecutors accused them of orchestrating and inciting the violent attack on Brasilia's government buildings on January 8, 2023. A day that shocked the nation and drew international condemnation. The images of chaos and destruction became a stark reminder of the fragility of democratic institutions when faced with organized attempts to subvert them. The Supreme Court's first turma, now operating without Minister Fux, deliberated for weeks, weighing the gravity of the charges and the overwhelming evidence presented. In the end, a decisive majority emerged, upholding the conviction and sending a powerful message about the judiciary's independence and its willingness to hold even the most powerful figures accountable. Unlike the traditional courtroom drama, much of this historic trial unfolded in the STF's virtual plenary. Here, judges debated and cast their votes online, adapting to new realities while ensuring transparency and due process. The digital format, though lacking the theatrics of in-person proceedings, has become the new arena where Brazil's legal fate is decided, reflecting the court's commitment to modernizing justice. The 27-year sentence handed down for crimes against democracy is without precedent in Brazil's history. It represents a bold assertion of the judiciary's resolve to apply the law equally, regardless of status or political influence. Legal scholars and citizens alike are now watching closely, recognizing that this decision will set a standard for how future threats to democracy are addressed. With this landmark decision, the Supreme Court reaffirms its unwavering commitment to justice and the rule of law. By holding powerful individuals accountable, the court sends a clear signal. In Brazil, no one is above the law, and the foundations of democracy will be fiercely protected for generations to come. Minister Moraes' opinion leaves no doubt. Bolsonaro was the mastermind behind the coup plot. Evidence, including testimony from aide Mauro Cid, links Bolsonaro to strategic planning, pressure on military leaders, and draft decrees to annul the election. Moraes draws a clear line. This was not protected speech, but a criminal conspiracy led from the top. The ruling makes clear that leadership in such a plot carries the gravest responsibility. Bolsonaro's defense tried to exploit procedural loopholes, arguing voluntary desistance and attacking plea bargain testimony. Moraes dismissed these claims, stating the coup failed due to institutional resistance, not a change of heart. Mauro Cid's testimony was corroborated by extensive evidence, and the sentence was carefully calculated for each crime. The minister's thorough rebuttal leaves little room for further appeals. The conviction stands on solid legal ground. With the appeals exhausted, Bolsonaro faces imminent incarceration as the case nears finality. Legal experts agree that further appeals are unlikely to succeed. The focus now shifts to the logistics of his imprisonment. Where, when, and under what conditions? The symbolism is profound. A former president, now subject to the justice system he once led. Bolsonaro was not alone. 6 top officials also had their convictions and sentences upheld. Figures like Braga Neto, Augusto Heleno, and Anderson Torres were found central to the plot. Mauro Cid's cooperation was pivotal, providing insider details that strengthened the prosecution. The court's message is clear: accountability extends down the chain of command. High office offers no shield from justice. Bolsonaro's downfall leaves a power vacuum on the right, triggering a scramble for leadership. Governors like Tarcísio de Freitas and Romeu Zema may emerge as pragmatic successors, but must win over Bolsonaro's loyal base. The Bolsonaro family will try to maintain influence, but legal troubles and lack of charisma may hinder them. The right risks splintering into factions: pragmatists, loyalists, and new populists. In the long run, this could lead to a more diverse, resilient conservative movement. The verdict lands in a deeply polarized Brazil, a nation already split along political, social, and even generational lines. For some, this moment is a long-awaited act of justice, a sign that the rule of law can prevail even in the face of powerful figures. For others, it is seen as a targeted act of persecution, a move by the establishment to silence dissent and punish those who challenge the status quo. The country now finds itself at a crossroads, with emotions running high and uncertainty looming over what comes next. Expect renewed political tension as debates erupt in parliament and spill out onto the streets. Heated arguments between lawmakers mirror the passionate discussions taking place in homes, cafes, and online forums across the country. The verdict has become a lightning rod, drawing out old grievances and sparking new ones. Protests are likely to intensify, with demonstrators from both sides flooding public spaces, waving banners, and demanding their voices be heard. The atmosphere is charged, and the risk of clashes between opposing groups is real. Underneath it all, a deepening distrust in institutions threatens to erode the foundations of Brazil's democracy. For Bolsonaro's supporters, the court is now seen as a political adversary, an institution that has overstepped its bounds and targeted their movement. They gather outside courthouses, chanting and waving flags, convinced that their leader is being unfairly treated. For others, the judiciary stands as a crucial defender of democracy, upholding the law in the face of immense pressure. Legal experts and commentators debate the merits of the decision, emphasizing the importance of transparency and due process. The challenge now is to communicate the legal basis of the verdict clearly and rebuild public trust in the system. Politicians from all sides will seize this moment, weaponizing the verdict to advance their own agendas. Some will frame it as a victory for accountability, while others will claim it is proof of political persecution. The media amplifies these narratives, making it even harder for ordinary citizens to discern the truth. As rallies and counter-rallies unfold, the country is gripped by competing stories of accountability and martyrdom. Each side sees itself as the true defender of democracy, deepening the divide. Ultimately, the true impact of this verdict will play out not just in the courts or on the streets, but in the hearts and minds of Brazilians everywhere. The coming months will test Brazil's democratic resilience as citizens grapple with questions of justice, legitimacy, and the future of their nation. The Supreme Court's decision marks a defining moment in Brazilian history, one that will echo for generations to come. This ruling is not just a legal milestone, it is a powerful statement about the values that underpin the nation's democracy. For many, it is a moment of reckoning, a time when the country's highest court stood firm in defense of the Constitution and the rule of law, even in the face of immense political pressure and public scrutiny. The world has watched as Brazil's institutions have been tested, and this verdict sends a clear message. Justice is not reserved for the powerless, but applies equally to all, regardless of status or office. By holding a former president accountable, the court has set a precedent that no leader is above the law. This is a crucial step in strengthening the foundations of democracy, reminding citizens and politicians alike that the law is the ultimate authority in the land. The decision will likely shape the behavior of future leaders, who now know that their actions will be scrutinized and judged by the same standards as any other citizen. For Jair Bolsonaro, the verdict transforms his legacy. He now faces a future as a political martyr to some, a cautionary tale to others. His supporters may rally around him, seeing him as a victim of political persecution, while his critics view this as long overdue accountability. Regardless, Bolsonaro's direct influence on the political stage is now diminished, and his role in shaping Brazil's future will be more symbolic than practical. The era of Bolsonaro's direct leadership has ended, leaving a void in the right-wing movement. His absence from the political arena forces his allies and followers to reconsider their strategies and redefine their identity in a rapidly changing landscape. The right must now redefine itself, searching for new leaders and fresh ideas that can resonate with a divided electorate. This is a pivotal moment for conservative forces in Brazil, as they grapple with the challenge of moving beyond Bolsonaro's shadow and articulating a vision that addresses the nation's pressing concerns. Meanwhile, the nation as a whole must confront the deep divisions that have been laid bare by this trial. Protests, heated debates, and social media battles reveal a country struggling to find common ground. The verdict has not healed these rifts, but it has forced a national conversation about the meaning of justice, accountability, and unity. Rebuilding trust and respect for democratic norms is Brazil's next great challenge. This will require patience, dialogue, and a renewed commitment to the principles that bind the nation together. Civic education, open debate, and a willingness to listen to opposing views are essential if Brazil is to move forward. The verdict is not a cure for polarization, nor does it erase the pain of recent years. Instead, it is a necessary affirmation of the rule of law, a reminder that democracy is a living system, one that must be protected and nurtured, especially in times of crisis. The Supreme Court's actions have reaffirmed the independence of the judiciary and the importance of checks and balances. This moment will be studied by future generations as a turning point, a time when the nation chose to uphold its democratic ideals. Now is a time for reflection on democracy's fragility, on the responsibilities of citizenship, and on the collective effort required to safeguard freedom and justice for all Brazilians. Each citizen has a role to play in protecting democracy, whether by voting, engaging in civil discourse, or standing up for the rights of others. The future of Brazil depends on the choices made today. The Supreme Federal Court has drawn a clear line in the sand, one that separates the rule of law from the rule of men. It is a call to action for all Brazilians to defend the institutions that guarantee their freedoms. The foundation has been laid. Now it is up to society, leaders and citizens alike, to build a future worthy of Brazil's democratic promise.